Good morning, ATD family. It is Saturday, March 22nd. If you are listening to this on Bleacher Brothers Radio, you're hearing it on Monday, but we're doing this on Saturday, so get with the program. It is Grand Slam Sam. It is Baseball Bill. We are like 7 days approximately away from the start of baseball season. Not if you're a Dodgers fan or a Cubs fan. If you're a Cubs fan, you're not happy. If you're a Dodgers fan, you are happy. Bill's prediction is still intact. But for the rest of the baseball world who don't live in Japan, our baseball season starts in approximately a week. I'm excited. This is the best time of year. I just can't wait to jump into it. We're going to start this off as we always do. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday morning?
I'm doing fantastic. You're absolutely right. My prediction is still intact, 161 in one, losing only one game to the White Sox this season. And we want to, Sam. I don't know if you heard the big news this week. Did you see any of the Tokyo series at all?
I did not because I was not getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch baseball,
Okay,
unless it's
so
the Giants. If it's the Giants, I'd get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and watch it.
of course you would. So just so that you know, the Dodgers have signed a new player this week. They signed Rodney Pete to play third base just in case Max Muncy's out. Um, you don't understand the joke, but Rodney Pete stole a foul ball from Max Muncy in the stands. So we did sign him. It was awesome. He's going to play for Dodger Dogs and free
So,
soda all season long.
but I was going to say, don't you have enough guys in your farm system that you could have just popped someone into third base?
Well, here's the problem. See, everybody on the MLB has their 40-man roster listed. If you go to Dodgers.com, it has a 92-man roster listed.
That makes
So
sense.
I mean, it just is what it is. We deal with the embarrassment of riches of being 161 and one.
You pay for a lot of players, defer all their payments 10 years, and then in 10 years you pay a lot.
No, we don't pay them. We defer it until 2097, and
And
then
then you never pay it because at that point they're dead.
Shohei's great grandkids are going to start getting paid by the Dodgers.
Probably that would not shock me in the least. In the least.
Least. Sammy, we had some
Uh
topics today, man. I am so
we got
excited
some
about
good
some of
topics
these.
today. Yeah, no, I'm excited about these. But before we talk about our topics, we gotta talk about the people that allow us to do what we do on a weekly basis. Or bi-weekly, whenever we decide we want to put this show on. Because it changes on a regular basis because I have a travel schedule
As
that
does
no one
Bill.
can keep up with. But we're
Yep.
going to get this started off by thanking our sponsors, Drunken Gentlemen's Club. Bill, tell me about these guys because they put out some great product.
They do. That's Josh over there and his crew, and they do some great apparel. If you're looking for some really high class apparel, and Josh was always talking to me about this, Sam, always saying to me, "Hey, Bill, if you ever need t-shirts, you ever need hoodies, whatever, I got a guy, I got a guy." Well, now that I've seen his stuff, he does have a guy. I mean, it's pretty impressive. So,
He's
yes,
got a
hats
guy
off to
that's got a
Josh. And
guy.
yeah, he's got a guy who's got a guy.
It's kind of like what we do out here on the East Coast in Jersey. I know a guy. I
Yeah,
know a guy.
I know a guy. Right.
Ruby's Ruby's Diner. I was actually in Las Vegas last week before I ended up at spring training. We'll talk about that as we get into the show. And lo and behold, in Terminal C, I believe I was in, get up the escalator, and what is right in front of me next to the beautiful Starbucks that I got my coffee at? Ruby's Diner of Las Vegas. I was in shock and awe. I was like, oh my God, it's like ATD is following me wherever I go, but it does. It
You
just
can't get
does.
rid of it.
I can't get
So
rid of it. Ruby's Diner, bringing back the classics, giving you that old school 1950s, 1960s diner vibe. Food's unbelievable. Definitely thank Ruby's Diner, specifically the one on the PCH down in
yeah,
your
in
area.
Laguna Beach. Yeah, Ned in Laguna Beach, 100%. Yeah, we're pretty excited to have him around, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah, yeah, he does a great
100%.
job.
And then America may run on Duncan, but specifically, what region runs on Duncan?
the Inland Empire. So we want to thank Andrea and her crew over there, Josh and Jordan and Jeff over in the Inland Empire. They got locations, Sam, in Colton, and they're getting a second one in Colton. They've got Upland, they've got Fontana, they got Rancho Cucamonga, and they have one in the Ontario airport. So if you're ever flying into SoCal and you're in the Ontario airport and you stop by Dunkin', you are supporting our corporate sponsors that make this thing all happen.
We can't thank them enough. As I keep saying, thank you, our sponsors, for allowing us to do the things we love to do and us bringing some amazing fans to your businesses as well. So
Mhm.
let's start this off with an injury report. Now we're getting closer to the season, so injuries are becoming more and more prevalent. And this injury report is not one to disappoint. Let me tell you.
Mm-mm.
Let me tell you. Bam. You see that list? Bam. This thing is insane. We've already got, what is it? One, two, three, four people out for the entire season, and the season hasn't even officially started. I mean, I'm just going to run down this top half of this list. I know Bill will take the second half.
Sure.
But Hassan Kim out till towards the end of May, signing with the Tampa Bay Rays just about 2 months ago. Um, this is a loss. This is a big loss for Tampa Bay. They're already feeling pain, and to lose a guy that's solid like Hassan Kim is going to hurt. It's going to hurt in that first month, in those first 2 months of this actual physical baseball season. Giancarlo out until June 1st. I mean, they're already plagued with injuries. Um, as we'll get to the next two in just a second. But from a hitting perspective, this one is tough. This one's tough.
Yep.
Um, Luis Gill out with a lat injury till June 3rd, also very tough. But I think the biggest gut punch for the Yankees right now, Garrett Cole out for the season. I believe it was confirmed Tommy John. Correct me if I'm
Yes.
wrong.
Yes. It was confirmed Tommy John.
This team is just gonna, after doing what they did last year, is just gonna have to figure something out this year. They're gonna have to. Got Emmett Sheehan with the Dodgers. I know this one's gonna hurt Bill out until July 1st with
Well,
an
actually,
elbow
he's
injury.
coming back. So
Oh,
that
he
was
is
from
coming back.
last year. Yeah, that was from last season. He missed the majority of last season. So this is a comeback. This is actually a positive thing for the Dodgers.
Great. I love to see it. And then wrapping up my half of this portion, Alex Cobb, the journeyman, is out till May 1st with a hip injury. This'll sting for Detroit, but Detroit's got a lot of good young pitchers.
Yeah.
So while this is going to sting for them, I don't see this being a long-term pain point for them.
No,
No,
no.
I see them. I see Alex Cotto coming back from this hip injury, bouncing back. Maybe it's having a rough May, but then getting solid in June moving forward. So,
Mhm.
Bill, take me through the second half. What's going on with Shane?
Um, Shane, aka Justin Bieber, is out until August. I'm sorry, until July 1st. This is going to hurt Cleveland. Cleveland was one of those teams that I think is going to underproduce this season. Um, Brandon Williamson for Cincinnati out for the season with an elbow injury. Ronald Acuna Jr. finally making his way back on May 1st. Blake uh, Walston for the Diamondbacks out for the season. Joe Musgrove out for the season. Joe Musgrove being out for the season is a blow to the Padres. That's another team that is going to take a hit. But Sam, you notice who's not on here? Do you notice who's not?
I didn't put those two on here because
No,
they
no,
were
no, no,
expected to be
no.
back before the start of the actual season.
No, no, no. You know who what team is not hurting on here is the Beantown boys. The Boston Red Sox are going to be a lot better than what people think, and they're avoiding the injury bug right now. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I think the fact that Boston at this point doesn't have a major injury that's going to hurt them is definitely setting them up for success in that already tough AL East division.
Right.
Um, you know, I would almost say with the injuries that the Yankees are facing, it moves them up in
Mhm.
prediction. I think we're now seeing more of a two-headed race between the and you might think I'm crazy about saying this, but I think we're seeing more of a two-headed race between the Orioles and the Red Sox, and the Yankees now dwindling into that third position than
It
we
could be with all the injuries. It could
previously
be Sam.
than we
Um,
were previously seen, where the Yankees were in that 1 to 2 spot, and then having it kind of be like a tie or like a two-way race between the Red Sox and the Orioles for second, third. I see I see this changing of the guard in this year.
yeah.
Um, but again, this is only a season. I mean, next year it could be back to what it normally is with the Yankees dominating. But what's the most impactful injury on this injury report?
You're gonna want me to say Garrett Cole, but I'm actually not gonna say Garrett Cole. I'm actually gonna say Joe Musgrove.
Okay,
Um, the
tell me
the
about it.
Padres losing Blake Snell 2 seasons ago, uh, and um, Hugh Darvish getting older. They need a number two really for Hugh Darvish. Now Michael King is still there, but again, he's still coming off being a relative rookie. So
Mhm.
this is a huge blow to San Diego. Remember, they play in a division where Arizona got better, San Francisco got better, the Dodgers got better,
Did it
and
pain you to say the Giants got better? Like it almost, I almost saw the pain in your face having to say it.
it was. Oh, hold on. Uh, Okay, I just had to throw up a little bit in my mouth. But no, yeah, no, I got it out. It was okay. I survived.
Um, yeah, no, I think when you're separating the two divisions out, AL and NL, there's no question. Garrett Cole from the AL perspective is by far going to be the biggest pain injury on the
Yep,
American League side. There's no question about it. But I agree with you. Joe Musgrove with that already depleted San Diego pitching rotation, it's
100%.
a huge, huge loss for them.
It's a huge
Huge
blow.
loss.
Yeah, huge blow.
We'll keep an eye on how some of these injuries play out. Like with Acuna, hopefully there's no, pushback from his rehab, getting back after the knee injury from last season. Um, keep an eye on Shane Bieber, make sure nothing's going on with him. But and same with Hassan Kim. That one I'm definitely going to keep an eye on because I want to see how that plays out. Giants were high on him going into the season before they didn't sign him and they went and signed I can't even think of his name right now because I'm so tired. Um
Not quite sure where
who
you're
am I
going with
thinking?
that.
The shortstop.
Or who?
Losing my mind. Oh, Will for the Giants.
Oh, with the
God.
Giants.
Willie
Uh,
Adamas.
what's that?
Adamas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Willie Thomas.
So
Correct.
gonna be interesting to watch how this plays out. We will keep you posted as we always do here on ATD as we get back into a regular swing of weekly episodes. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Tokyo series. MLB took over Tokyo last week, last weekend, and had a crazy interleague play with the Cubs playing. I want to say it was the Giants over in Japan. The Dodgers were playing some team over in Japan, and then these guys started their official MLB season playing each other. So for the Dodgers and the Cubs, they may come back to some spring training games, but their seasons have officially begun, and the Cubs are starting 0-2. Dodgers starting 2-0. Bill, I know you watch these series like a hawk. You were
I did.
texting me getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Your time to watch them. So tell me about these two series.
So they were interesting. That the big takeaways are the Cubs are a lot better than what people are going to think they are, but they also ride and die on the bats of their veterans, Kyle Tucker and Dansby Swanson. Kyle Tucker, I think, only had one hit in the series, which that was rough. Imanaya pitched very, very well in game one. He was on a pitch count. He didn't give up any hits through 4 innings, but I mean, he got out of the first inning in 9 pitches, Sam, and then the second inning he threw, I think, 24 or 26 pitches, which ate into him going further. And then then the Dodgers just had their way with the bullpen. Um, After 4 innings, the Dodgers had pulled Yamamoto, and so the Dodgers bullpen just shut things down.
Hmm.
Game two was kind of one of those seesaw games, and it was a game that the Cubs ultimately could have and should have won. They had the bases loaded. I want to say it was 2 or 3 times with less than 2 outs and did not score, um, which that's a problem. A lot of good takeaways from both of these clubs. They're both going to be very, very good. What is going to hurt both of these clubs, though, is what you and I have talked about. There were two things that the Cubs had issues with this go round, and the Dodgers not as much, but did have a little issues with this. There was problems with shutdown innings, and there was
Hmm.
also problems with small ball. Dodgers are down 1-0. Their first two batters of an inning walk, so no outs, first and second, and they don't bunt the runners over. Next guy strikes out, next guy flies out, next guy flies out. You bunt the
Yeah.
runner over, that fly out gets you a run. So
Yep.
um, most of these guys look like they were in shape and they were ready to go. Shout out to Roki Sasaki for his first start in the MLB. Um, but Imanaya looked good. There's a rookie named Shaw over with the Cubs that's going to be very, very good. He was very impressive in the infield. Struggled a little bit at the plate, but he'll get the tune of that. And I
Yep.
was also very, very, very impressed with John Birdie. He was stealing bases, and now he's not going to play every day. Nico Horner is going to play every day, but when he
Okay.
comes in, he's going to put some pressure on the base pass. The Cubs are going to steal a lot of bases. Pete Crow Armstrong is going to steal a bunch of bases as well. So the Cubs are going to be a lot better than what people think. I did on the predictions podcast, I did say that Cincinnati is going to win the division. I still feel that way, but the Cubs are going to be a lot better than people think.
Do you think do you think having this Tokyo series kind of fall towards the end of spring training and kind of kicking off the series and then having these teams come back and do spring training games is kind of going to throw off their kind of groove?
Uh,
Where you're not
no,
starting, when you think about it, they're not starting the season off when the season actually starts. They start the season off a week and a half before the season. And then they
no,
come back and they play another week of spring training games before they actually get into real games again.
yeah, no. The What's going to hurt them is what our topic's going to be, um, where we're going to talk a little bit in a bit. The shortened spring training, I think, sucks that it happens. Uh, and this is what I'm going to call the embarrassment of the jewelry, right? So the Dodgers won the World Series. Now they're going over to Tokyo, and then we'll talk schedules a little bit later. Last year they went to Korea. These are all great things that MLB is trying to do. The issue is it will affect players. Remember, everybody still has preseason games going on. Everybody still has spring training games going on. Some of them are going to
Hmm.
play their crosstown rivals. Um, the Cubs, instead of playing the White Sox as a crosstown rival game, like the Angels and Dodgers are doing this weekend or tomorrow and Monday and Tuesday, they're actually not doing that. Um, they are going to Arizona, and they're playing a bunch of spring training games still in Arizona, which makes sense. I think this is a little much. I would prefer this to happen around the All-Star break because we just talked about injuries, Sam, and
Yep.
injuries are a big. I mean, stop and think about this for a second. If you are a player and you've got to fly 12 hours to play two games that don't matter, and then play two games that do, and then fly 12 hours home to play two games or to play 3 or 4 games that don't matter, then start playing games that matter, it's going to take a toll on your body,
Yeah.
emotionally, physically, everything.
100%. We've been seeing MLB start spring training earlier and then also shorten the number of games that these guys have been playing.
Mhm.
And now when you interloop a international series within that, it definitely throws your groove off a little bit. I mean, just, let's just look at this. The you know, they basically didn't play. They played games on March 11th. Then they had the prospect. Then the Cubs and Dodgers had their prospects game, which ended up getting canceled because of weather.
Mhm.
So the Dodgers core starting lineup didn't play from the 11th till the 15th. They played on the 15th. Then they had off 2 days. Then they played their two-game series. Now they're off for 3 days, and then they play the Angels
Mhm.
tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday before having a day off and then starting the season.
Oh, no, no, it gets worse, Sam. It gets worse. Keep reading. So
Oh,
they pl-
I mean, we'll get into it as we move on
Yeah,
because
it's going to
you
get
know
worse here in a second. So we'll talk about
yeah.
that in a second. But the Tokyo series, good overall. Um, I mean, they they said that the numbers, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but the numbers that watched this was the equivalent to watching a seventh game of a World Series. So
Well, that makes sense. I mean, you had all the people in Japan watch,
yeah, exactly.
and you had two teams fan bases watching their teams play. I mean, that's it. Because I don't think anyone else in baseball, unless you were awake at that time and there was nothing else on TV to watch, were watching that game. You were watching the games. I know that. But again, you're a fan of the team that played, so it makes sense. Um, I love that we do an international series. Football's been doing it a lot more. I think MLB needs to get more into doing it. But I think they need to pick their timings better with it. Um, I think giving players off, especially this amount of time within spring training before the season starts, is a little advantageous. I would almost rather say like they should have done the international games like today and tomorrow and then given them the 3 days off before the season starts. Rather than maybe playing the Cubs, especially now that MLB is doing every team plays each other. You could have started you could have started the Dodgers season against the Angels in a two-game set rather than starting against the Cubs in a two-game set. You know what I mean? Like there was that opportunity to do it. Um, but I love the fact that they are doing more international games. I'm a big advocate for this, spreading the love, spreading the joy, spreading what we do here in the States with the rest of the world and how, solidified Major League Baseball is. Everyone wants to be in the league internationally. So it's great to see us getting out there more. I would like to see them maybe change these locations up because we've now done 2 years of international Tokyo series. I'd like to see them change it. I know, yeah, we did last year. They were in Tokyo last year.
They were in Korea last year.
Okay. Change the location up from the Asian market and move it to a greater international market. Go to
like
Australia.
like the
Go
London
to
series
go
that they
to go
had.
to London. Go to, Spain, go to Brazil, go to where they have more other international players rather than just staying in one market. That's my opinion on it.
You're
Take it
entitled
for
to
what
it.
you
I love
will.
it. You'll be here till Wednesday, tip the waitress. I love it.
Yeah. Don't email me, don't Slack me, I'll get filed.
There you
Um,
go.
before we move on to the next topic, once again, we just can't thank these guys enough because they
Mhm.
do so much for us. We got to thank these sponsors one more time. The
Mhm.
Inland Empire, they run on Dunkin' Donuts,
Mhm.
running about 6 locations, almost a seventh on its way.
Yep.
Um, I run on Duncan, Bill runs on Duncan, America runs on Duncan, but the Inland Empire down there in Cali, heavily, heavily relies on Dunkin' to make it through their days. Just heavily relies on it. It's almost like they've got IV bags full of Dunkin' Donuts coffee they're just injecting into their bloodstreams. Um, Bill, Ruby's Diner, talk to me.
Ruby's Diner is absolutely gorgeous. It's a breathtaking location in Laguna Beach. Ned and his crew over there are absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. It's right across the street from the Pacific Ocean. They got the cool cars out in front. It's just amazing. Sam, we'll get you out here and we'll get you to it at some point.
Like I said before, I almost went to the Ruby's Diner in Vegas. But
Yeah, it would have
Starbucks
been awesome.
coffee was just calling my name. I just needed that buck to get me through it. I mean, I had a long flight flying from Vegas to Arizona. You know, that hour and 10-minute flight really killed me. But I mean, I made it. And then Drunken Gentlemen's Club, they do a great job. They got a guy. They got a guy that knows a guy
They got a
that's
guy that knows a
always
guy.
that's always putting out great merch for them. If you haven't checked out Drunken Gentlemen's Clothing, definitely check them out. Awesome group of guys over there. We can to thank not only Drunken Gentlemen's Club, but Ruby's in Laguna Beach and the Inland Empire running on Dunkin' Donuts for supporting us and allowing us to do what we do every day, which is love the game of baseball and love sports and be able to talk to you about it. Um, but let's get into some opening day. We are officially what, five,
5 days
six
away.
days away from opening day? Five,
5 days
6 days
away.
away from opening day.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Like I said, I don't know about you, man. I am pumped. I am so pumped for next Thursday. It is going to be electric, electric games of baseball.
Mhm.
Um, just taking a look at at who we got starting off. If you're listening to this on Bleacher Brothers Radio, you can't see what's on the screen. We're going to take you through each of the opening day starters as they sit currently. I'll get started off. Freddie Peralta versus Carlos Rendon in New York. Brewers versus the Yankees. How do you see that series playing out, real quick?
Super quick. The Carlos Rendon needs to pick it up. He is going with Garrett Cole out. They are going to need him as well as Max Fried. This is going to be a huge, like pressure cooker start for him.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Especially having an off year last year, being plagued with injuries in the beginning half of the season, picking it up in the second half. Reminds me a lot of what happened with Blake Snell when he was with the Giants last year. Had a start or two, got hurt, couldn't figure it out, and then came back and just dominated the second half of the season. Now they need to flip that, and they need to start the season off just as well as they finish the season off because they now need to make a name for themselves within the clubs that they're respectively in.
I'm looking at this list, and again, if you're listening to the Bleacher Brothers Radio Network, check us out on YouTube. This will be up on YouTube. Um, but I'm looking at this list, and there's a couple of key matchups that I see that are going to be interesting because their clubs are going to need them to
Yep,
produce. There's other ones that you look at and you say, "Oh, okay, well that'll be interesting." I mean, it's baseball, I think, right?
right.
But Sam, let me plow through a couple of these and you tell me what you think.
Okay.
Okay. Um, Garrett Crochet versus Nathan Abaldi. Nathan Abaldi for Texas has been very, very good. World Series champion with Texas a couple years ago. Garrett Crochet coming into a new division, which is going to be extremely difficult to do. He's now playing in a place where people expect winning. Um,
Yep.
it's not a rebuild. Uh, a quick thought on that game.
This one's going to be tough. Garrett Crochet is going into his second MLB opening day start. Nathan Eovaldi's going into his fifth. Eovaldi's been here before. He knows what it's like. Garrett Crochet coming off of a year when he was on a team that was just abysmal. abysmal. There's no other word to accommodate for the White Sox other than an abysmal embarrassment of a season.
Hmm.
He's coming to a team that, as we just said a couple of minutes ago, not plagued with injuries, puts themselves in a new foothold in the American League East. Fresh start for him. I see this one as being close, but I see the Red Sox taking this, and I see them taking this entire series against the
Hmm.
Rangers.
Yeah. Another one that is interesting to me is the Mets need Clay Holmes to be very, very good, and they're going against Framber Valdez. That's going to be a very good series as
Yep.
well. Um, the Mets advantage Astros in this one, though I picked the Mets to win the division. I don't know that this first game is going to bode them well.
Yeah, I mean, Clay Holmes' first opening day start in his career, Framber Valdez going into his fourth. It's going to be an electrifying atmosphere down there in Houston. It always is. I'm sure Big Dave is going to be there cheering on his Astros with everything he's got. Um, I agree that the advantage does go to the Astros, but I can also see the Mets squeaking out a win in that first game.
That might be true. Let's go old guard versus new guard. Zach Wheeler versus Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie
Ooh,
Gore throws very, very hard, everybody. And that's not a name that you're used to hearing. Washington is going to be a lot better than what people think are going to be. And he's going to watch out for that game. It'll be interesting. In that series, believe it or not, I say advantage Washington.
okay. Zach Wheeler, second start, going up against Washington. I agree. Washington's definitely going to be better. They're young. They've got nothing to lose. And when you're going against a team that's really got nothing to lose, as the favorite, you're almost worried. You loosen up a little bit. You maybe, don't play as hard as you would have. I think if the Phillies don't go into this with a full head of steam and just, come out guns blazing, they're gonna be greatly disappointed with how it ends up. I'm gonna give it to the vet, but I agree with you. Similar to the Astros Mets, this one's gonna be a squeaker. Um, these are two division. These are two teams in division playing against each other. It's not like it's not like the Astros and Mets where it's interleague play. Um, these got when, and as well as I do, especially when the Dodgers face the Giants. When you're facing a team in division, you play harder, you play smarter.
Mhm.
Um, I see. I give advantage to the Phils, but this one's going to be really interesting. That one's going to be a fun game to watch. It's a 4:05 game. So yeah, don't be surprised if people have their eyes locked in on that game. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick off. I'm gonna pick off three more, and actually four more. Um, the last two I'm gonna say are the two to watch. Um,
Okay.
okay, so two more here. That will be good matchups, but not necessarily the overall. Hey, you got to watch this. Logan Webb versus Hunter Green. Hunter Green
Yep.
is also a fireball thrower.
Yep.
He's going to be very, very good for the Reds. Logan Webb is a must-have good season. If the Giants are going to make any splashes, any waves, Logan's got to pull out all the stops and put the team on his shoulders and say, "Come on, boys, let's go."
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I mean, Giants right now been having an amazing spring. Like 19-6 as we sit today. Best spring training record of both the Grapefruit and the Cactus League. Um, he's been pitching lights out. In his last start, he went, I think, 5 innings, 7 strikeouts, one run, and maybe one base on balls. But he is kind of going back to that form that we saw from him, 2 years ago. Last year, down year. I think he can agree to it. He had a down year. The team was not really behind him. I think there were key pieces that were missing. I think the Giants did do a lot of smart things, though, in this offseason to get better. They moved Tyler from short to second. They brought in Willie Adames. They've kind of solidified their outfield presence at this point. Matt Chapman was locked in for 6 years. Um, bring and I know you're gonna say and Justin Verlander, Mr. Kate Upton coming in and being a veteran presence in that ball club has
Mhm.
really elevated these younger pitchers, Hayden Birdsong and Kyle Harrison, to get better. To get better. They're kind of considering Verlander as a player coach. They're looking at him as like a second, third pitching coach.
Yeah,
Like and
yeah.
that's what you need out of a guy like him. Um,
And I
I'm
had heard
obvious.
rumors. I had heard
Mhm.
rumors that he's going to sign another 1 year deal with the Giants already. But he wants to play right field, and you guys are going to let him do it.
Probably not. But we'll see how that goes. I'm going to give advantage to Logan and the Giants. I think while they're playing in Cincinnati, I think the veteran presence that the Giants have at the top of that rotation is going to be something that the other teams weren't expecting them to come out with,
Yeah, yeah.
especially out the gate. Um, but this one will be maybe a run or two differentiator between each game. I'm not saying either game's going to be a blowout. I'm not saying it's going to be close, but I think you'll see a 1 to 2 run differentiator between the game, between the teams in each game.
Okay, I'll take that. I think if Van Cincinnati, you're in Cincinnati. Hunter Green's geeked up. He wants to start off the season well. It's going to be a tight series, but I'm going Hunter Green on this one. Uh,
That doesn't surprise me. Going against the Dodgers,
no, no,
you
no.
know.
That has nothing to do with it. It's just if it I would have changed my mind if this was in San Francisco. I probably would have said advantage San Francisco. I'm picking the home team on this one.
That's fair. That's fair. I give you that.
Um, okay, the next one that we're paying attention to is second year phenom Paul Skeens. Can Sandy Alcantara have a bounce back season? That's the next question. Can Sandy
Oh,
Alcantara have a bounce back season?
oh, I'm gonna say negative. Miami has done nothing. They have done absolutely nothing to make that team better. Like absolutely nothing. They're literally putting the entire team on Sandy's shoulders. Like, I don't even know another player besides Sandy on that team at this point. Like, it's embarrassing. Paul Skeens, I mean, rookie of the year, phenom on the mound. Guy is an absolute stud. I don't see this being even a close battle. I see Pittsburgh running away with this.
Okay.
Just absolutely running away with it. Advantage pick. The away team,
Advantage
100%.
Pittsburgh. I agree. Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh and uh, Cincinnati are going to be very good this year.
Oh, I
Okay.
agree. I agree. Cincinnati's going to be good. I just don't think. I think the series is going to end tied. The Giants Cincinnati series. Um, I just think Game One is going to go to the Giants. I think they're going to come out guns blazing, riding high off of the spring training run that they've been on.
Yeah. Okay. So the last two I think are must watches.
Okay.
Now you've got a lot of good guys starting that we haven't talked about. Obviously, Kikuchi for the Angels, we haven't talked about him. Pablo Lopez for Minnesota, we haven't talked about him. Sonny Gray for the Cardinals. Zach Gallen for the Diamondbacks. We haven't talked about the Severino. We haven't talked about that in Sacramento. But here's the two games. If I were a baseball fan and somebody said to me, "Who are these pitchers? Which games do I watch?" I watch Atlanta versus versus the Padres with Chris Sale and Michael King. Michael King is going to be very good, everybody. Do not be surprised if this guy has a 20 win season very soon. It may not be this year, but very, very soon he'll have a 20 win season. He is that good. And Chris Sale had a bounce back season last year. He's very good as well. Advantage. In this one, they're playing in San Diego, and we're still missing Ronald Acuna Jr. Advantage Padres.
I'm going to agree on the pitching matchups, disagree on the outcome.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I think this is going to be a great series. I think this opening day pitching matchup, I agree with you, will probably be one of the pitching matchups to watch. Would not be surprised if it was shown on every station that Major League Baseball is showing baseball on. Wouldn't be surprised unless it's not in your market. Um, but I'm going to give the advantage to the Braves. I think the Braves are looking to have a major bounce back, and even without Acuna, I still think they have a more solidified base player availability than the Padres do. I think again the Padres didn't do anything. They did nothing this offseason to get better. Absolutely nothing.
They did
Um,
nothing. They did
you
nothing.
know, I see the Braves taking the disappointment of last season and how they ended their playoff run and saying like, no, we're gonna come out and we're gonna showcase who we are and who we should have been. So it's gonna be a great pitching matchup. I think the series will be good, but I'm gonna give a brand advantage to the Braves, not just in the game, but I think in that series as well.
Yeah. Okay. I I I think the Braves will take 2 out of 3 in the series. I just don't know that they're going to win that first game. Final one for me, and I'm going to justify this not as a homer. I'm going to justify this Tariq Skubal against Yamamoto. And I'm going to justify this by saying there are two names in baseball right now that people are watching on the bump, and that's Paul Skeens and Tariq Skubal. And
Yeah,
obviously, with Tariq Skubal going against the current defending champions, um, and with that lineup that the Dodgers have, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch and to see how Skubal does in that situation on the road in La La Land, that type of thing. Um,
yeah.
advantage advantage Dodgers in this one because what I saw in Tokyo, I saw them taking a lot of pitches. If they rack up Skubal's count or pitch count, game on, the Dodgers are going to win that. If they are first ball, fastball looking or swinging at first pitches, and Skubal has 3 innings where he doesn't throw more than 10 pitches in each inning, advantage Tigers. But right now, I'm saying advantage Dodgers.
Yeah, I think what Yamamoto did in Tokyo
Hmm.
kind of set a precedent for how he's going to command his season. Um, you
Yep.
know, last year was his rookie year,
Yep.
and coming in as a rookie from the international market, there's always this nervousness any player is going to feel. Now, granted, Yamamoto was a superstar over in his international league. There's no question about it. But when you come into Major League Baseball, when you come into MLB here in the States, it's a different world. It's a different environment. Um, your fans are passionate, and if you aren't producing at the level that you are expected to produce, you're gonna get run out of your city.
Mhm.
Yamamoto really, while having some nervousness, showcased who he was. And I think he's going to take that to another level. Tariq Skubal, like, just did amazing things last year that no one expected him to do. No one, not a single person expected him to do in baseball. Um, and I think
100%.
I I'm not saying he's going to have a slump, but I'm saying there's going to be a slight downward slide on him this year. I'm not expecting him to produce at the same level he produced last year, again this year. Um, I'm not also saying he's going to be a middle of the pack guy. I still see him being a top 10 starting pitcher in the American League. I'm not saying like that's what I'm saying, but I'm not seeing him in the top five. I'm seeing him maybe breaking five, maybe being six. That's my prediction. Just because I think there's a lot of good starting pitchers in the American League. I really, really do. Um, but I mean, just look at the American League guys you have on this list that are starting. You Shane McClanahan. You got um, who is it? Blah 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 blah. Logan Gilbert, Jose Barrios, Nathan Evaldi. Cole Regans. I mean, you got a lot of great American Garrett Cole. I mean, Garrett Cole. I mean, like that guy with the Red Sox easily could be the number one or two pitcher in the American League this year. Like, I don't think there's any doubt of that, especially with the team he's got behind him. Um, so again, I that's going to be a series to watch. My advantage, I hate to say it, it's like I can feel the bile coming up from my stomach, is the Dodgers. Um, but it's going to be a great matchup to watch, no question.
How'd that feel, Sammy? How'd that feel?
It hurt, man. It hurt hard.
All right,
What's
we
the
got
what's
it.
your other matchup? What's your other
No,
matchup
that's
to
it.
watch?
That's it. Those two were the
Okay.
big two. And
Um,
honestly, just to clarify, I'm looking at this from Scooble's perspective. I'm not looking at this saying, hey, I mean, if the Dodgers were playing the Rockies and it were Kyle Freeland against Yamamoto, I would not have mentioned this.
yeah. I
Um,
think the other game that's going to be one to watch,
mhm.
and this is a game to watch that's going to set them up for the season, and I'm honestly very surprised you didn't mention this, was Shohei Imanaga versus Zach Gallen.
um,
That is
partially
going to be another game you want to watch if you are a baseball fan.
partially because I think Zach Allen starts slow. That's
Okay.
that's why I didn't mention it. If this were middle of the season, I would say yeah, game on.
I hear that, and I think that's a fair assessment to make. I just think, Shohei's coming off of not the best start in his career, not his best start over in Chicago or over in Tokyo. Zach Allen, I agree. We'll probably have a little bit of a slow start, but they're playing in Arizona. That fan base has gotten really, really into the team over the last couple of years, especially with how good they've been playing. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was a game that went the distance and was closer than we expected. Um, but it's going to be a fun one. I'm also kind of excited for Luis Severino versus Logan Gilbert, that A's Mariners series. Like like those are like the A's getting Severino was huge. We talked about this. This was a major signing for them, especially with everything that they're dealing with. And Logan Gilbert getting his first start as a young pitcher with a young team that I have all the upside on. Um, that's going to be fun. I mean, I like these two teams playing against each other. Now,
Me too.
granted, we don't know where the A's are actually playing this season. I mean, I know they're playing like 50 games in a minor league park, but
Yep. Yep.
still will be a fun one.
Well, Sam, I know that we've only got about 10 minutes left in the show, so let's talk a little further about our I wanted to mention the schedules, but let's punt that until next week. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of funky stuff going on with the scheduling, everybody. So just let's punt that till next week, and we'll take it from there on that one.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good spot to bring that up, especially with it being the start of the season. We can kind of talk about how those guys are dealing with the extra time off. Um, Kind of to give you all a little bit of a preview of what to expect next week on the show. Bill, you have an awesome, awesome podcast schedule this week.
This week is a lot of fun. So Monday is American League with Ashley. We go through the Tigers. Her being a Tiger fan, we go through a little bit of the Tigers. we also go through the American League. We talk about who we think is going to have a breakout season, who might not have a great season. She talks about who she thinks is going to win Rookie of the Year and Cy Young. It's a phenomenal podcast. Tuesday, we have the Jason Beck of Bourbon and Baseball fame. We've got Mayflower um, Dave Hummel on, and we've got Derek, situational lefty. Now, our World Series editions, typically, everybody, we go through a World Series, we break it down. We took 1994 and took the hypothetical um, World Series because that was the strike year. What happens if 1994 happened? We took the two best teams, Expos and Yankees. I will not tell you who I selected, although it will be surprising to you. Michaela's on Wednesday. She's a Royals fan, got a fantastic story. We got Can of Corn with Big Dave, and then Harmony is going to talk some Tigers this week. There is a lot of fun podcasts coming up. Sam, we've got booked out, I think, 8 or 10 new guests coming on in the next couple of weeks into the podcast. The podcast is just killing it right now, everybody.
The
This is great
the
stuff.
clubhouse is getting so packed. We're gonna have to upgrade our facilities.
Upgrade the facilities. Yeah, we're talking about a $16 billion deferred facility where we pay it $1 a year for the next 100 years, and then at the 101st year, the facility is the rest of the payments due.
There you go. That's fair. I think that's a good stance. It kind of goes within the Dodgers repertoire of just deferring as much as they possibly can, humanly possible.
There you go.
Um, as well, you got to check out TFR on X this Thursday. It's Sports Talk. It's fan involved. We are talking all opening day, all about opening day this Thursday. That is opening day. We're going to be talking about what's been going on. The best matchups, how those matchups played out, who finished up on top, who finished in the bottom half. It's going to be great. You're not going to want to miss it. And then as well, every Tuesday and Thursday, Baseball Bill within the leagues. Still happening on Instagram, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific.
Pacific. Yep.
So make sure you're checking that out. Get Bill's recaps on what's happened the day before, and then on Thursdays, what's happened the last couple of days. And as we look into the weekend, so always a fun time to watch. There's another great break happening this Monday. You and Heads Up are really like
Killing it.
breaking
Yeah.
this down. You guys are breaking down things this month coming Monday on the 24th. If you
Yep.
haven't signed up yet, make sure you get to topfanrivalry.com and select your teams. I believe there's still a couple of teams left, but we are breaking Don Russ 2022 Optic, one of my favorite products out there. The Don Russ product is so underrated, yet so overvalued. It is an amazing product to get, part of the Panini company of products. We got some big names to look out for, some names that you guys know of, some names that we love. You got Bobby Witt Jr., Julio De La Cruz, Julio Rodriguez, Spencer Stash Strider, Jaron Duran up in Beantown, and then Ellie Superman De La Cruz.
De La Cruz.
And that rookie card. You want to get that rookie card. That rookie card's going to be worth something.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
investment worth making.
And Sam, one of the things that we need to make mention of is the club, right? And
Yes.
the reason why this is so important is so every other week, Heads Up Sports Cards and Top Fan Rivalry will be dropping a box on Fridays, and we'll be ripping it on Mondays. That's important to understand. But the 27-ounce club is our new club for Top Fan Rivalry. It is $27 a month. That guarantees you your team. Now, here's where this plays itself out. Guarantees your team in the break. So Sam's already in. He's the Giants. So the 2 times a month when we do box breaks for the club, Sam's already got the Giants. They're even off the table. You can't even get them. Okay. Not
I
only
mean, you can
that,
pay me for them. You can pay me for the Giants. I
oh,
might
you can
upcharge
negotiate it
you.
with
You
Sam,
can
but
negotiate with me.
I guarantee it's gonna cost you more
But
than
the
27 bucks.
chances of it happening, unless it's one specific product, are probably slim to none.
Exactly. Then you get a $5 off coupon. And here's the thing, you get early access. So the club members this week, Sam, when we announced this box on Friday at noon, 10 teams were already gone because club members had already bought them because they get 24-hour early access. So you get 24-hour early access on a product before the rest of the community does. Once the 27 ounces sold out, we'll start a new club. That's fine. But that way other people can get in on it. I'm telling you, Sam, it's an amazing thing. Absolutely amazing thing.
The card collecting community in the last couple of years, it's always been big, but it's never blown up into what it is today. Um, and it's great to see more and more older fans getting back into breaking cards. It's great to see so many young baseball fans starting their collections off early. And always remember, we primarily are breaking baseball card breaks here at Heads Up Sports Cards and Top Fan Rivalry. But there are a million other products if you are fans of other things. There is football, there is basketball, there is hockey, there is wrestling, there is soccer. I'm even going to go out there on a limb. There is a Disney collector card box break that you can get into. Disney cards.
Yeah.
Disney.
Disney.
And then
Exactly.
and then let's not forget the craze with Pokemon. I'm sorry if you're a Pokemon fanatic. I used to be like 20 something years ago, but Pokemon cards apparently have become like the new hot thing.
Yeah.
So if you are a fan of collecting cards, of any sport of any type. If you want to just collect sports cards, go out, get yourself a different couple of boxes of sports cards. If you're a fan of Disney and Pokemon and anime, go get those sports cards. But we want to see the card collecting community get even bigger than it is. And I can't thank Top Fan Rivalry enough for creating the 27 Outs Club to get involved into the break community. It's an awesome thing to see, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Um,
100%.
Once again, we got to thank our sponsors as we wrap the show up. Drunken Gentlemen's Club, Ruby's Diner on the Pacific Coast Highway, and then the Inland Empire running on Dunkin' Donuts. We can't thank you for doing what you do and supporting us so we can do what we do and bring you in a great community to support your organizations. As always, from us to you, Taylor Swift Heart, love right there. So much love. So much. Bill, any final
Yeah.
comments for the fans out there?
Go fight win. We're going to do this again next week.
We will. We will be back to a somewhat regularly scheduled programming of doing this on a regular basis. As always, make sure you're checking out TopFanRivalry.com for new articles, podcasts, merch, t-shirt club, the new baseball club, the exclusive member events, and of course, the Top Fan Rivalry Fan Fest, not only in person, but virtually happening every year. It is an awesome community. We can't thank you enough for being a part of it. We are glad to be a part of it. Thank you, Bleacher Brothers Radio, for, as always, for sharing our love of baseball on your radio broadcast network. It means the world to us. As Bill has said in his final comments, go fight win. And I will end this off like I always do by saying we will see you on the field next week. Have a good weekend.